All right, so next exercise, we're going to jump right in, and the next few I think will go faster so you can see more concepts. But the exercise is number 6. Which year had the least number of stops? And that is all I am going to tell you, and I'm only going to give you a few minutes for this one. Which year had the least number of stops? All right, I see less focused faces and people typing, so I think we'll go ahead and go through this one. I saw a lot of Stack Overflow, which is, I don't know, a good sign or a bad sign, I'm not sure. But all right, did anyone use a string method to solve this? What string method did you use? First 4 characters of the stop date column? And what specific method did you use? Oh, okay. All right. All right. Did anyone use a string method like an actual Okay, string split with a hyphen. Okay, so that splits on a character you select. Anyone else use a different string method? Maybe in the back corner? Slice. Slice is the one I chose because I thought it was the most straightforward. So as we saw in a previous exercise, you can use string methods across a series, and they all start with .str. They're series methods, so data frame name, series name, .str, and there's lots of them. And I like slice in this case, and I want to slice from characters 0 through 4, okay? And that outputs a string series. And then you can just throw a value counts on the end. And that would be one way to do it. And you'll see that the year with the least number of stops, because every row represents a stop, the year with the least number of stops is 2005. Did anyone notice how much smaller this number is? So one thing I want you to take away, what we'd want to know is why is that number smaller? And we might be able to deduce it by exploring the data set. We might figure out, oh, in 2005, only District X turned in the reports or whatever, however they collected this data. Or maybe the researchers know the answer to that question. Or maybe it is not at all known why that number is a lot lower. But I think it's probably safe to assume, given that the stops started on January 1st, that there's nothing that's really safe to assume, but depending upon what questions you're trying to answer, you might want to consider excluding that year because it has so few counts. You might think, oh, what if this is a really biased set of my data? But you wouldn't want to throw it out unless you had like a good reason to. So anyway, that's a bit of a side point. But getting back to the essential question of, working with dates in pandas, did anyone use a different method? Time. Got it. So let me pause at that part. So there's a data type in pandas called datetime, and it has lots of useful features. So I'm going to, this is one place where I actually want you to type these things so that you create a certain column a certain way, and we'll use it in future exercises. So there are 2 lines of code I want you to type, and then I'll talk about them. So the first is create it's actually a series called combined, and what you're going to say is ri.stopdate.stir.cat ri.stoptime, comma, sep equals space. Okay, let me make sure I did that right. Stop date, stir, cat, stop time, sep space. Okay, so this is a string method. I'm saying cat is short for concatenate. I want to concatenate stop date and stop time, the 2 series that are next to each other. I want you to concatenate them into the same series, still a string series, and separate it by a space. Okay? So that's what I'm doing here. All right? So if you run that, and you just print it out, you'll see that combined is a pandas series, and it has the date and the time in the same column. Okay, I know it looks a little clunky, but that's the best way I know of to combine two columns that are strings. Okay, so the second part of that is what this gentleman here was talking about, which is taking a date and a time, though you can actually just do it without the time, and you pass it to a top-level function called pd.toDateTime. So I want you to type this line of code as well, just to be clear. And what that does is takes that series and converts it into the datetime data type, and we're going to store it in a new column called stop datetime. Okay, so instead of stop date and stop time, we now have stop underscore datetime as a new column. Okay, all right. So those, I will try to keep those up on the screen. But I will scroll back to them in a second. But I want to show you the D types and show you that stop datetime, our new column, is a datetime 64 column. Okay, so that is its data type. And I'll leave this up here for one more second. So if you haven't caught up, finish typing that. Okay. And then with that knowledge, before I interrupted you in the second row, you were saying how to use this to figure out the year. So what do I type to get the year from this? Great. Awesome. Great, great, great. So he was just saying, okay, so just like string methods have like a series dot str dot something, datetime methods have a series name dot dt dot something, and these are various attributes, and we've got year, which is useful. You could even do like weekday, and it can tell you what day of the week it was, and you can, check the month and all kinds of things. So super useful to have your dates and datetime format. But in this case, we just wanted the year. And then like he was saying, you could do value counts. And then he added on there that he did a sort. Though it is sorted, value counts is sorted in descending order by default. So it's going to be the last one. But he was saying, oh, well, I sorted the values. And then, which does ascending. And then he picked off, I think, the first one. It's just... Oh, okay, got it. That dot index 0 or something like that. Anyway, there you go. So if you want just the number, that would work. That would work quite well. So I'm just going to back this off just to have the full thing there. But that's the other way. Yep. No, you can just have a date without a time, and it can be date time. Maybe there's a case where that doesn't work, but I'm pretty sure that will always work. And you'll notice that it just guessed. It just figured out. The reason I included time is because we'll use it in a future exercise. Okay, so my lessons there, I think I've already said. My lessons were, for this one, were just, let's see. Number 6, consider removing chunks of data that may be biased. If exploration leads you to believe, okay, this is biased, and for the purpose of my question, it should be removed, you should consider that, and use the datetime data type for dates and times. Okay. All right. Any questions? All right.